A man named Dominic maintained a municipal swimming pool in Scranton, Pennsylvania for 22 years. The facility had 24 shower stalls tiled floor to ceiling in white ceramic with white grout. Hundreds of people used those showers every week. The humidity never dropped below 80%. And in 22 years, the grout was white. Not off-white. White. He told me about a paste that cost the recreation department $4 per month for all 24 stalls. But before I tell you what Dominic used, I need to tell you a word. Hyphae. When you understand what that word means and where those structures are hiding in your bathroom right now, you will understand why every spray bottle you have ever aimed at your grout was designed to fail in 14 days. Carol and I have lived in our house for 23 years. The master bathroom has white subway tile with white grout. By year 10, the grout lines were gray. By year 15, black. Carol had been scrubbing them with Tilex every 2 weeks for over a decade. 260 cleaning sessions in 10 years. 260 times watching the same lines turn black on the same schedule. But what I found when I finally investigated the biology inside the grout made me angrier than any product failure I have ever encountered. Because the spray was not failing, it was performing exactly as designed. In the next 29 minutes, I am going to show you 3 things. First, the biological reason your grout turns black and why it is not a cleaning problem. It is a colonization problem. And the difference between those 2 words is the difference between a fix that lasts 2 weeks and one that lasts 6 months. Second, the real history of how chlorine bleach became the default bathroom cleaner despite the fact that its molecular structure makes it physically incapable of reaching the source of mold in porous grout, and the 3 industries that profit from that limitation. And third, the exact method to kill grout mold at the root level for approximately $1. Including the 5 mistakes that will either damage your tile, bleach your colored grout permanently, or produce 0 results because you skipped the one step that makes everything else work. Dominic's full story comes after the steps, and what he told me about the difference between pool maintenance chemistry and bathroom cleaning product chemistry will make you look at the spray bottle under your sink very differently. Stay with me. Here is what you believe about your grout. You believe the black lines are a stain, accumulated soap scum, body oil, and dirt ground into the surface over years of use. You believe the solution is a stronger cleaner, a harder brush, more scrubbing force. And when scrubbing does not work, you believe the grout is permanently stained and needs to be replaced. Every one of those beliefs is wrong, and every one of them was put in your head by an industry that profits from the cycle they create. The black in your grout is not a stain. It is a living organism. Specifically, it is mold. The species most commonly found in bathroom grout include Cladosporium, Aspergillus niger, and in some cases, Stachybotrys chartarum. These organisms do not sit on the surface of the grout the way dirt sits on a countertop. They grow into it. Mold reproduces by sending thin filaments called hyphae into any porous material that provides moisture and organic nutrients. Grout is a cement-based material that is riddled with microscopic pores and air channels. It is one of the most porous surfaces in your home. When mold spores land on damp grout, they germinate and extend hyphae into those pores the way tree roots extend into soil. Within days, the hyphae network has penetrated below the visible surface, anchoring the colony into the body of the grout itself. The black color you see is the visible portion of the colony, the fruiting bodies and surface hyphae that produce spores. But the root network extends deeper into the grout than your eyes can see. Have you ever bleached a grout line perfectly white and then watched the exact same line turn black again in exactly the same spot 2 weeks later? That is not new mold. That is the same colony regrowing from the roots you left alive inside the pore structure. You cut the tree down. The roots survived. The tree grew back. And here is the question that the bathroom cleaning industry prays you never ask. If bleach kills mold on contact, and it does, why does the mold always come back in the same spot on the same schedule? Because bleach does not reach the roots. Sodium hypochlorite, the active compound in household bleach and in every spray product that contains bleach, including Tilex, Clorox bathroom, and scrubbing bubbles with bleach, has a molecular structure that is effective on non-porous surfaces. Tile, glass, fiberglass, sealed countertops. On those surfaces, bleach kills mold completely because there is nowhere for the hyphae to hide. The entire organism is on the surface and the bleach contacts all of it. But grout is not a non-porous surface. Grout is cement. Cement is porous. The pore channels in grout are like a network of underground tunnels. The mold lives on the surface and below it simultaneously. The bleach floods the surface and kills everything it can see. But the tunnels extend deeper than the bleach can reach. The hyphae in those tunnels survive. They still have moisture. They still have nutrients from soap scum and body oil that have migrated into the pores over years of showering, and they still have the root structure intact. Within 10 to 14 days, new surface growth emerges from the surviving root network and the grout line darkens again. The cycle restarts. You reach for the spray. The industry sells another bottle. Have you ever wondered why your tile stays perfectly clean while the grout between the tiles turns black? The tile is glazed ceramic, non-porous. Bleach works perfectly on it. The grout is unglazed cement, porous. Bleach fails on it. The two materials are inches apart, cleaned with the same spray, and one stays clean while the other does not. That is not a cleaning failure. That is a chemistry mismatch that the product label never mentions. Clorox was founded in Oakland, California in 1913. It began as a bleach manufacturing company and grew into one of the largest cleaning product corporations in the world. The Clorox company today generates over $7 billion in annual revenue across brands including Clorox Bleach, Tilex, Pine Sol, and Formula 409. A significant portion of that revenue comes from bathroom cleaning products that contain sodium hypochlorite as the active ingredient. The company knows that bleach works on non-porous surfaces. Their own technical documentation specifies this. Their industrial and commercial cleaning divisions sell different products for porous surfaces because they know bleach does not penetrate. But their consumer bathroom products, the ones on the shelf at the grocery store, are marketed as mold killers without distinguishing between porous and non-porous applications. The bottle says kills mold. The grout is porous. The bleach does not penetrate. The mold comes back. The consumer buys another bottle. And then there are the contractors. A bathroom contractor will look at your black grout and tell you one of two things. Either the grout needs to be removed and replaced, which costs $200 to $500 per bathroom in labor and materials, or the entire tile needs to come out and be reinstalled, which costs $3,000 to $8,000. Both of those options are legitimate for grout that is physically crumbling or structurally damaged. But for grout that is sound, intact, and simply discolored by mold colonization, neither option is necessary. The mold needs to be killed at the root level. The grout itself is fine. A contractor who tells you to regrout a structurally sound surface because it is discolored is selling demolition for a problem that requires chemistry. The chemistry that works is sodium percarbonate, the same oxygen bleach I have talked about on this channel before in a different application. When sodium percarbonate dissolves in warm water, it releases hydrogen peroxide and sodium carbonate. The hydrogen peroxide molecule is significantly smaller than the sodium hypochlorite molecule in chlorine bleach, small enough to penetrate the pore structure of cement-based grout. When the peroxide enters the pores, it encounters the mold hyphae and releases active oxygen that oxidizes and destroys the cell walls. The root network dies inside the grout, not on the surface, inside. The sodium carbonate component provides alkaline cleaning that emulsifies the dead organic material and lifts it out of the pores during rinsing. But here is the critical detail that separates this method from simply pouring peroxide on the grout and hoping for the best. Liquid hydrogen peroxide applied to a vertical surface runs off in seconds. It does not stay in contact with the grout long enough to penetrate the pores and reach the deep hyphae. You need 3 things: a thick paste that clings to the grout line without dripping, warmth that accelerates the oxygen release, and time. Hours of sustained contact, not minutes. Here is how to do it. Follow these steps exactly. Step 1. Buy sodium percarbonate powder. It is sold as oxygen bleach or OxyClean in the laundry aisle. A 1-pound bag costs approximately $2 to $3 and treats 2 to 3 full bathrooms. Make sure the product is pure sodium percarbonate, or that it is the primary ingredient without added fragrances or fillers. Step 2. Mix a thick paste. Add warm water, about 120 degrees, to the powder a little at a time, stirring until you get a consistency like thick toothpaste, not runny, not dry. The paste needs to stick to vertical grout lines without sliding down. Step 3. Apply the paste directly onto the grout lines with a putty knife, an old butter knife, or your finger. Press it into the joint. Cover every discolored grout line with a thick bead of paste. Step 4. Cover the treated area with plastic wrap. Press the wrap against the tile so it seals the paste against the grout. This is the step that makes everything work. The plastic wrap does 3 things. It prevents the paste from drying out, which would stop the oxygen release. It traps heat against the surface, which accelerates the peroxide reaction. And it holds the active oxygen in contact with the grout pores instead of letting it dissipate into the bathroom air. Without the plastic wrap, the paste dries in 30 minutes and the penetration is superficial. With the wrap, the paste stays active for hours and the peroxide migrates deep into the pore structure. Now here is where Frank made a mistake 3 times before he figured it out. The first time I noticed the grout darkening, I sprayed it with bleach, scrubbed for 20 minutes, and it looked great. 2 weeks later, black again. I sprayed and scrubbed again. White. 2 weeks. Black. The third time, Carol watched me on my hands and knees with a toothbrush and bleach spray, scrubbing the same lines I had scrubbed 4 weeks earlier, and she said, "Frank, stop cleaning them if they are just going to come back." She was right. I was not cleaning. I was performing a bi-weekly ritual that accomplished nothing permanent. I was cutting the grass in the cracks instead of pulling the roots. It took me 3 cycles to realize that the problem was not my effort. It was my chemistry. The bleach was doing exactly what bleach does, killing the surface, leaving the roots, selling another bottle. Step 5. Leave the plastic wrap in place for 4 to 6 hours. Overnight is even better. Do not check it, do not peel it back, do not remove it early. The oxygen needs sustained contact time to penetrate the full depth of the hyphae network. Step 6. Remove the plastic wrap, rinse the grout with warm water, and scrub lightly with a brush to remove the dissolved paste and dead mold material. The grout should be dramatically lighter. For grout that has been black for many years, a second treatment 1 week later may be needed to reach hyphae that penetrated deeper than the first application could reach. But most grout responds fully to a single treatment. If you are looking at your shower grout right now and seeing black lines, subscribe. I have another video coming next week that you will not want to miss. Now let me tell you what Dominic told me about pool maintenance versus home bathroom cleaning, because this is the part that ties everything together. Dominic said the recreation department had tried chlorine bleach in the first year he worked there, before he took over maintenance. The previous custodian sprayed the shower stalls with bleach every Monday. By Friday, the grout was darkening. The cycle was the same one Carol lived with at home. When Dominic took over, he called the chemical supplier who serviced the pool and asked what they recommended for tile grout in a commercial wet environment. The supplier said oxygen bleach paste under plastic, left overnight, once a month. He said the supplier told him that chlorine bleach was for surfaces. Oxygen bleach was for substrates. Dominic said he did not know what the word substrate meant at the time, but he followed the protocol. Within 2 months, the grout in all 24 shower stalls was white. It stayed white for 22 years. I asked Dominic what the monthly treatment cost. He said the recreation department bought sodium percarbonate in bulk, a 20-pound bag for about $15. One bag lasted roughly 4 months for 24 stalls. That works out to about $4 per month for all 24. For a single home bathroom, the cost is approximately $1 per treatment. I asked Dominic why he thought homeowners did not know about this method. He said something simple that I have heard from every professional I have talked to on this channel. He said people buy what is on the shelf. The shelf has spray bottles. Nobody puts a bag of powder on the shelf next to the spray because the powder requires instructions, requires effort, requires patience. The spray requires one squeeze and a paper towel. The spray sells. The powder works. Dominic told me one more thing that made the difference personal. He said his own bathroom at home had the same white grout that the recreation center had. His wife used bleach spray on it every 2 weeks, the same cycle Carol followed. The grout was perpetually gray. He told his wife to let him treat it with the pool method one Saturday morning. She was skeptical because she had been scrubbing the grout for years and could not believe that sitting paste under plastic wrap would do what her hands in bleach could not. He applied the paste, wrapped the shower in plastic, and went to watch football. 6 hours later, he peeled off the plastic and rinsed. His wife looked at the grout and asked when he had regrouted. He had not regrouted. He had treated. She said the grout had not been that white since they moved in 17 years earlier. She never bought Telex again. Dominic told me one last thing. He said in 22 years, the recreation department never regrouted a single shower stall. Not one. The grout was original from the 1980s. Over 30 years old. The tile was original. The only maintenance was the monthly oxygen bleach treatment and occasional recalking at the corners. He said contractors had walked through the facility over the years for other projects and commented that the shower grout looked new. It was not new. It was treated. There is a difference the industry does not want you to understand, because new generates a sale and treated does not. Now I have to be honest about the limits. This method works on cement-based grout, which is the vast majority of residential grout. It does not work on epoxy grout, which is a resin-based material that does not have the same pore structure. Epoxy grout is non-porous and rarely develops mold colonization in the first place, so it usually does not need this treatment. If your grout is physically crumbling, cracking, or falling out of the joints, the problem is structural, not biological. Crumbling grout needs regrouting. The percarbonate treatment fixes discoloration from mold, not physical deterioration from age or water damage. And if you have colored grout, dark gray, brown, or black grout that was installed that color, test the paste on a small hidden area first. The oxygen bleach can lighten colored grout by 1 or 2 shades, which may not be desirable. Here are 5 mistakes that will ruin the treatment. Mistake number 1. Skipping the plastic wrap. Without it, the paste dries in 30 minutes, and the peroxide never penetrates to the root level. The plastic wrap is not optional. It is the delivery mechanism. Without it, you are doing the same thing bleach does. Surface only. Mistake number 2. Using chlorine bleach and oxygen bleach together. Mixing sodium hypochlorite with sodium percarbonate produces a chemical reaction that neutralizes both products and can release chlorine gas in sufficient concentration to be dangerous. Never mix the two. Use one or the other. The percarbonate works. The bleach does not. Choose accordingly. Mistake number 3. Using cold water to mix the paste. Sodium percarbonate activates slowly below 100 degrees. Cold paste releases almost no peroxide and sits on the grout doing nothing for hours. The water must be warm, 110 to 130 degrees, when you mix the paste. Mistake number 4. Scrubbing the grout aggressively before applying the paste. Hard scrubbing with a stiff brush on old grout can physically damage the surface and open new channels for mold to colonize. The paste does the work. The brush afterward is for rinsing residue, not for grinding. If you are pressing hard enough to leave scratch marks in the grout, you are damaging the surface you are trying to save. Mistake number 5, and this is the one that explains why you have been scrubbing the same grout lines every 2 weeks for years. Believing that mold on grout is a surface cleaning problem. It is not. It is a subsurface colonization problem. Every spray product in the bathroom aisle treats the surface because spray is a surface delivery method. You cannot deliver a chemical into a porous substrate with a spray bottle. You need a paste, a seal, and time. The spray industry knows this. Their own commercial and industrial divisions use paste protocols for porous surfaces. But the consumer division sells spray because spray is convenient, spray is fast, and spray runs out in 2 weeks, which means spray gets purchased 26 times a year. A paste that costs $1 and works once every 6 months generates $2 a year in revenue. A spray that costs $5 and works every 2 weeks generates $130 a year. The industry did not choose spray because it works better. They chose it because it sells better. And the grout in your shower has been paying the price for that decision for as long as you have owned the house. Let me give you the numbers. The average homeowner spends $40 to $70 per year on bathroom mold and mildew products. Over 30 years, $1,200 to $2,100. A professional regrouting costs $200 to $500 per bathroom. A full retiling costs $3,000 to $8,000. The percarbonate paste treatment costs approximately $1 per bathroom per application. At 2 treatments per year, that is $2 annually. Over 30 years, $60 total. And the grout stays white between treatments for months instead of darkening every 2 weeks. Here is the number that makes the waste tangible. The bathroom cleaning products industry generates over $3 billion annually in the United States. A meaningful portion of that revenue comes from mold and mildew sprays purchased on a bi-weekly cycle by homeowners scrubbing grout lines that turn black again on schedule. 26 bottles per year per household. At $5 per bottle, that is $130 a year from one customer for a product that delivers 14 days of results. A $1 bag of percarbonate delivers 6 months of results. The industry chose to sell the 14-day product, not because it works better, because it sells 26 times instead of twice. Carol treated our shower grout 8 months ago. She applied the paste on a Saturday morning, wrapped it, went to the farmer's market, came back, peeled, rinsed. The grout was white, not improved. White. She stood in the shower doorway and said, "This looks like the day we moved in." That was true. 23 years of accumulated mold growth, removed in one treatment. She retreated it once since then, 4 months later, as maintenance. The grout is still white. She told me recently that she used to avoid having guests use the master bathroom because the grout embarrassed her. She would send them to the guest bathroom which she had scrubbed the night before. Now she does not think about it. That is the difference between managing a problem and solving one. When you manage it, you think about it every 2 weeks. When you solve it, you forget it exists. Dominic's shower stalls were 30 years old and looked new. Carol's grout was 23 years old and looked condemned. The difference was not the tile. It was not the grout. It was not the house. It was the chemistry. Dominic used a paste that penetrates. Carol used a spray that does not. The paste costs $1. The spray costs $5. The paste works for 6 months. The spray works for 2 weeks. And the spray is the one on the shelf at eye level with a television commercial and a coupon on the bottle. The paste is in the laundry aisle in a plain bag with no commercial and no coupon. And nobody in the bathroom aisle ever told you to walk 3 aisles over and look down at the bottom shelf where the answer has been sitting since before your grout turned black, since before you bought the first bottle of spray, since before you got on your hands and knees with a toothbrush for the 260th time and wondered if there was a better way. There was. There always was. If you want to see what I am releasing next week, that video is on your screen right now. Subscribe if you have not,